Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the By Word Show. I'm so glad you're here today. And we're in for a treat, you guys. Okay. We've got the gratitude guru here with us today, Kristi Nelson. And I just cannot wait for you to hear from her. So, first of all, Kristi, welcome to the By Word Show. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy. I can't wait to spend this time with you and your listeners. So take it away, and I'm all yours. I'm all in.
Yay! Well, I am truly so grateful that you're here. Would you just quickly introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for those who may not know you yet.
Okay, so I am, let's see, I'm 63 years old. It's incredible. I live in Western Massachusetts. What I have been doing for the past 10 years is being the executive director of an organization called Grateful Living. It used to be called a Network for Grateful Living. I wrote a book while I was the executive director, and that seems to be part of the reason I'm here. So I wrote this book called Wake Up Grateful, and I'm just a big believer in the possibility of arriving to every moment of our lives gratefully, like open-heartedly. And the experience for me has been really transformative, and I've seen it be transformative for other people to learn to live more gratefully and to really engage in a moment-to-moment gratitude practice. So that's why I love talking about this, because I'm such a big believer. I really am.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can just tell from your book that it's true. And the stories you share, like it's just a different level of intention and awareness than the typical conversations that are like, oh, here's your gratitude journal or be thankful every day, and I know we can get into that too, because I want to hear all the things.
Yeah.
But what initially got you on this journey of studying gratitude and getting involved in the organization and then writing this book?
Mm. Well, probably what got me involved. I mean, I've always been a pretty grateful person. And I think that's, I've always recognized the blessings in my life and the privileges in my life, and have had a relative context, so just understanding the good fortune and not wanting to take that for granted. And that's been a baseline. My family really taught that. I grew up in a family that was very socially concerned and socially active about, on Thanksgiving and making sure that we were doing things to take care of people who didn't have food. And so I'm lucky in that I grew up
Mm,
without a lot, but with more than a lot of people had, and we had enough. And so I come from that foundation, and that's a gift to be aware of that. And then when I was 32, I got really sick, and in a way that I didn't expect. So that because it's kind of how I start the book. Is I got incredibly ill. I was ill for 9 months before I was diagnosed. And when I was diagnosed, I was finally, after 9 months, I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't able to move. I was
mm,
in unbelievable pain. It took so long for them to figure out what was going on. And I was diagnosed with stage 4 atypical lymphoma. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma that had
mm.
metastasized to my spine. So it was a big deal. And so at 32, I had been in the hospital a lot for 9 months already. And then I had to go through chemotherapy and radiation and lots of surgery, and to
Yeah.
learn to walk again and all that stuff. And so what that taught me was to have perspective on life
Mm,
and to be grateful for every moment that was afforded me by surviving that experience. And then I kept living. So
mm.
that's probably what, I it was an amazing thing to keep living. And I wanted to make sure that for myself, that I learned how to cultivate that experience of being grateful, and to be able to replicate that in every moment, like to be able to come back to it, because that
Yes.
to me was the blessing, was the real blessing. And it's not just gratitude for the good things, but gratitude for every moment of our lives.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the way you talk about that in the book and you just explain that it really is just becoming aware of the simple goodness around you because I feel like a lot of people it takes getting to that point where you're almost at rock bottom to realize what you had. You know, that whole thing of like realizing what we have before it's gone. And so how have you helped people make it a true shift from just like maybe a daily gratitude list or like listing the things you're thankful for on Thanksgiving, like really truly making it a lifestyle that lasts? And then
Mm,
what benefits have you seen from really truly embracing gratitude in the day-to-day life?
such a great question. Thank you. So, my what I see and what I experience is just literally waking up every day and not taking for granted that I have another day. And there's
Mm.
something that's a very profound teaching within all of this um, study of gratefulness and the practice of gratefulness, and learning to really live gratefully, which is we have no idea how long we're going to live. And not to
Right.
live gratefully in every single moment, aware of that possibility and thankful for the chance to be here, recognizing that one day we won't be, is, that this is a gift. It's a gift if we can cultivate that gratitude, just waking up in the morning and going, I'm here. And, one of my favorite quotes that I use a lot is Maya Angelou says, this is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before. And
Mm.
just the idea that like every day to get to wake up and then be aware that my hands still move. I mean, I have arthritis in my hands really badly. I can't close them, but I can still use my hands. I can breathe. I can move my body out of bed. I have a bed. I have, a roof over my head. And
Yes.
there's a quote that I love quotes. I'm a big believer in whatever it is that helps us get back to perspective, and we really
Yes.
need help. We need all the little supports and tools that we can. And so I'm for all bringing a big toolbox with us into every day. So one of my favorite quotes, Hannah, is everything you take for granted, someone is praying for.
Mm.
So
That's good.
everything you take for granted, someone is praying for. So it just means to me, or you can say, if you're not comfortable with praying, you can say someone is longing for, someone is needing and doesn't have it. And that, to me, it just gives me goosebumps head to toe when I say that. And what
Yes.
that translates to me is the most simple things, like having a window, like having a roof over our heads, like having food to enjoy, like having a body that moves. And I don't want people to have to wait to lose or almost lose those things to be able to really treasure that they're here for us now. So, what
Yes.
can you savor? What can you treasure that's available to you now? What can you cherish? What can you appreciate that's available to you now in your life that someday won't be? And that basically is everything. Like,
Mm.
that's the secret. The secret is actually that everything that we have is here now as blessing, including your kitty cat who's
Yeah,
climbing
I
behind
know.
you. I can see it.
She
Um,
always tries to be the star of the show.
but she came in at just the right moment, like as if on cue. Everything here. So I think that that's really the truth, is not to take the little things for granted, because the little things are big things.
Mm.
And there's
Yes.
nothing mundane and ordinary and routine about life if you treat every moment as an extraordinary, unrepeatable miracle.
I love that. It's just really there's just such a difference in that perspective, because when you really start to become aware of everything you do have, and I love that quote that you shared,
Yeah.
what you have and take for granted somebody else is praying for, longing for. It's so easy to forget that. I mean, I'm in a season right now where I am grateful to have had the perspective shift before I miss it. But like, I'm currently pregnant with our baby girl that we prayed for years. I had three
Mm,
miscarriages before this. And I just realized, oh my goodness, I am living in what I've been waiting and longing for. I
yes.
don't want to miss this. It doesn't take away from the challenges. I mean, there's still hard things happening in my life, but man, I don't want to miss this because I waited so long for this and it's here and it's happening. And so I mean that for me has just helped me be way more aware of like, oh my goodness, what else in my life have I just completely forgotten? I I have like I have it right now, and before it's
Yes.
gone I have this chance to appreciate it. And I yeah, it really does make such a huge difference because I feel like when you're able to focus on the good, the more good you're able to pick up on. But it's easy when
It's
we're
true.
thinking about what we're lacking or what we're waiting for, what we wish we had that was different. It's so easy to zero in on those things and then we just forget.
Totally. And you're so right in that. I think different cultures are different, right? If you travel and you live in different places or just visit other places, I think we're especially prone in this society to coveting and
Mm,
to operating from scarcity, to feeling like we never have enough and it's never good enough and we're not good enough. And if only we had
right.
more. And so that makes us miss the moments that we're alive and miss the blessings of our lives and the privileges of our lives and the good fortune, even if it's just the ability to breathe, right? Didn't COVID teach us that to be able to just
Yes.
take a deep breath? Why do we not think of that as the most incredible miracle, honestly, that our bodies are so extraordinary, that what they do for us in every single moment, if we can humble ourselves and have reverence for what is going on all the time within and around us, we will be just mind blown, gobsmacked, blown away by what there is to appreciate in life. And you're right about being pregnant. What's interesting about being pregnant, I think, and I haven't been pregnant, so and I got cancer right at that time when a lot of my
Mm,
friends were getting pregnant, and then I couldn't get pregnant. So what I know about getting pregnant is, one, not to take it for granted, which you don't, because you know that this is something you've been really working hard at and is amazing. And there are so many people who are praying for that right now and wishing that they could
mhm.
have that experience. But pregnancy is, in and of itself, this time limited thing. Like, you've only got this
Mm,
experience for a certain amount of time, and you don't know when that baby's going to come. And it's so easy to just kind of override the pregnancy just to get to the baby. Like it's like not
yes.
comfortable, and it's like, oh, can we just get this baby already? But there's something about pregnancy which is so extraordinary and time specific, that you can say, listen, I've only got this many weeks or days left. And I know that for myself in a way, because having had what they call an end stage cancer, right?
Mm,
Like, I didn't think I had much time left. So I was on what I called super soak mode, like when you
mm.
put laundry in a washing machine, and you can make it like over saturated. You can set it on a cycle which helps it to take in more of the moisture that it's in. I don't know, I just find that fascinating. So I think it's great to go through life on super soak mode, and that
That's so good.
I was on vacation last week, past couple of weeks, as you know. I just got back. And when I was on vacation, I had these experiences of, it was so hard to wind down my nervous system. It was so hard to get really
Mm,
present where I was and not to just carry the stress and the everything of home with me. And so I would be in the middle of this glorious moment. The sun was shining, I was in someplace beautiful, and I would feel this limitation on my ability to experience it.
mm,
I would feel like I wasn't as fully present as I wanted to be. So I would really do a meditation, close my eyes and just say,
mm.
be here now. Can you be more fully here right now? What can you do to get more fully here? Okay, like, now open your eyes, and can you open your senses? Can you be more available to what is here for you in this moment, to the beauty, to the breeze, to the warmth? And I think we have to remind ourselves over and over again. I call it the development of spiritual musculature. We have to
Mm,
develop the spiritual musculature to be present and to have perspective and to be open to possibility. That's what being grateful and living gratefully is. It's like, can you be fully present? Can you have perspective on your life in this moment? And can you develop a sense of possibility and go towards that sense of possibility more fully in the moments that you have? And then you're living gratefully. But it takes
Mm,
work. It takes reminders. It takes tools and little quotes and things that we give ourselves to remind us. It's not simple, but it's worth it.
absolutely. That's so powerful. I love that you said it really is like, it takes time to build that muscle. It does, because we have to
Yeah.
shift our whole mindset and perspective. So when you're teaching this to people who maybe gratitude is a new idea, or they're
Mm,
like, okay, I've tried the grateful lists before, or like, how do we practically start cultivating that? I know you said the quotes,
yeah.
but how does that play out in the day to day?
Great. So I think in every single moment that we can come back and remind ourselves, uh, this moment is a gift. Life is a gift.
Mm,
So there are 5 principles to grateful living that I've kind of articulated that I think are super helpful. And one of them is gratitude. So, and yes, what I've seen is people's lives really transformed by this. So in
mm,
addressing that, what I know is that it's worth it to develop whatever you can of the spiritual musculature of a grateful perspective, because it really changes how you live your life, changes how you deal with other people. It helps you
mm,
prevent regrets. It helps you be more present to the beauty of the life as it is, be more present. So, so the 5 principles that I can just say, because I think they're really helpful, is life is a gift. And when you greet each moment gratefully, you are always receiving. So
mm.
what that means is that when you wake up in the morning, when you greet that first moment gratefully and you say, thank you, another day. What a beautiful day. I've never seen this one before. Look at my legs can move out of the bed. Look at me standing. Look at me sitting here. I can take a breath. So for me, I try to say thank you in as many moments to as many things and as many experiences as I can. Just thank you. And there's probably no more powerful practice, because it keeps me attuned and attentive to what is extraordinary. And gratitude, Hannah, as we've been taught it, is about waiting for something good to happen. And I think we spend a
Mm,
lot of our lives waiting for good things to happen, things that we've called good or we think we're supposed to have, or to get just the right kind of experience. And it's like, okay, then I'll be
right.
grateful, right? Gratefulness, when we live gratefully, gratefulness as a practice actually says when you greet each moment gratefully, you're always receiving. You don't need to wait for a thing. You just
Yes.
need to be awake to the fact that life
Wow.
is a gift, and it's a gift right now available to everyone who can hear this. And it won't always be, and it's a miracle to be here, and a lot of people who wanted to be here aren't here. And how can we honor life by really treating it as the gift that it is? That's really the amazing thing. We don't have to wait for a thing. It's all
Yes.
here. It's all here. If you're breathing, you got what you need. So second one is, everything is surprise. When you open to wonder, opportunities abound. Right? So everything is surprise. Like, we don't know how the day is going to go. Can you open to wonder? Can you open to a sense of curiosity? Can you open to a sense of awe about the fact that life is delivering itself to you in every moment? And you really don't know. You can plan everything perfectly. And most everybody who's listening should know by now that it doesn't always go according to plan.
Yes.
So everything is surprise, the state of surprise. We live in a state of surprise. So everything's surprise. When you open to wonder, opportunities abound. The third principle is the ordinary is extraordinary. You don't have to wait for anything extraordinary. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to be it. The ordinary is extraordinary. Every single thing. There's nothing ordinary. What the heck is ordinary? There's no ordinary anything, really. So everything. So the ordinary is extraordinary. When you take nothing for granted, life is abundant.
Mm,
You have everything you need. Really, almost everybody, you have enough to keep you in awe and inspired just going through your day as it is. The fourth principle is appreciation is generative. What you were saying before, when you're grateful for things, you notice more to be grateful for. And the things that you're grateful
mm,
for actually flourish when you take care of them and pay attention to them. So appreciation is an active verb, like appreciating, like to appreciate something. You're verbing, right? It's like love. Love
Yes.
is an active verb, and when you appreciate things, they thrive. So it's generative. So when you tend what you value thrives. It's just a
Mm,
rule of life. When you
that's
tend
so good.
what you value thrives. And the truth is, when you value love, when you value life, when you value community, when you value equity, when you value the planet, when you value the natural world, when you value people, they will thrive when you actively tend them. They're not going to thrive when you don't tend them. So it actually is an ask. It's a doing.
Mm,
It's something that is like, tend what you value. Go tend what you value. If you want to feel good, go take care of something and someone you value. And the
love
last
that.
one is love is transformative. Love transforms everything. So love generously. And when you open your heart to the great fullness of life, your heart overflows. When you embrace the great fullness of life, your heart overflows, which means you live in love. You are an agent of love. You are a bringer of love into the world, and everything around you transforms. And then what I think is so awesome is it returns you to life as a gift. Love and
Mm,
life, like, right? They just circle around. And so those five principles are things that I remind myself of throughout the day all the time as perspective prompts. It could be otherwise, we could not be
yeah.
here and we could not have what we have. And so it really calls for appreciation and for gratitude in the biggest sense of that word.
That's so beautiful. It's so special. Like when, because it seems so simple, right? Like practicing gratitude. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, it takes a lot of intention to daily cultivate a perspective of gratitude. But it's amazing how you said just when you tend to what you value, it thrives. Truly, it does. And it can be as simple as just a thank you. I love that you said in the beginning, just saying thank you as much as you can, as often as you can, to whoever you can, because it's little things like that that start to help us see really how much we do have around us. That is truly remarkable. Everything's
100%.
extraordinary. Yes,
100%. 100%.
absolutely.
It's that
And
simple.
yes, it really is. But the fact that something so simple can be so transformative, like you said. And I love how in your book you do share so many stories from other people. Like, this is not just your life, like, this truly is a practice that is changing everything for people, not just in America, but like all over the world.
All over the world.
Gratitude is universal, you know? So,
Mm.
what are some of your favorite stories or insights that you've heard from other people who have
Mm.
embraced gratefulness as well?
People, I would say it's kind of it's mental health medicine, right? So people
Mm,
who have really struggled with anxiety or depression, we have a lot of stories, and I've met a lot of people who are whose lives are completely different by shifting it to, what do I have? What is going for me? What can I appreciate? And also getting outside of ourselves. It kind of helps us get out of the stew of our own
yes.
minds and our own machinations, and how easy it is to just kind of get stuck and caught in all those things. And so for me, I've seen so many people transform their lives. I've seen a lot of people use gratefulness and grateful practices like this, um, to support a 12-step program, like, or to be in recovery,
Mm,
to people who have really helped themselves get off drugs, alcohol, whatever it is that they want, get out of really unhealthy relationships, right? Because part of what it
wow.
does is it lifts up your heart, yourself. It's like, wait a minute, life is a gift. What am I doing? Settling
Yes.
for what is not reinforcing that sense in me of how, and that I'm precious, that my life is precious, that everything I do and give is so worthy. And so I want to be tended and valued, right? So it's like, it's a big full cycle. Um,
Yes.
I know people who have had transforming forgiveness experiences. as a
Wow.
result of getting really grateful in their hearts and recognizing, wait a minute, the biggest thing we take for granted, Hannah, is time.
Yeah.
If you're taking time for granted, then you're thinking that you've got more time ahead of you
Mm,
to be able to make things right, to be able to get out of situations which don't serve you, to be able to forgive people who you want to forgive, but it feels hard. And so to me, the practice is, what are you taking for granted that you can actually be grateful for and appreciate? And when you live into that appreciation, what does it call you to do? When you're appreciating this day and the opportunity this day is offering you, not taking for granted that you may have more. You don't know. We just don't know. And so live that vividly, live that acutely into this moment and this day and what it calls for from you, that you're willing to actually be transformed and to transform the life you're living. If you're willing to be transformed and transform the life you're living and the world around you, everything is possible.
that's amazing. And I feel like it also just serves as such an anchor because I know we're talking about how this isn't just a rock bottom thing to transform your life. Like you can start today, any time of day, and it's
Yeah.
a daily practice. But when we do go through challenges and have really hard times, I feel like that is one of the things that keeps me afloat is just having some sort of perspective to hold on to that reminds you, okay, everything's going wrong,
Yep.
but here's what I have to cling to. So what would you say to people who are in a challenge, or even you when you were going through all of your treatments and your healing journey? What was practicing gratitude like in that time?
Mm. So that's the thing about gratefulness. It's like I said, gratitude waits for something good to happen. Gratefulness is
Mm,
basically what I say is, it's greeting the great fullness of life with gratefulness of heart. So the gratefulness of life is everything that transpires, and the recognition that it's not a personal rainstorm. Nothing was necessarily promised to us, and yet it's so easy to get absolutely waylaid and stuck and blown away by, oh my God, I didn't expect this. And
yeah,
having cancer at 32, that was way, way, way not something I expected. I was really
right.
healthy. I did yoga. I was a jogger. I was a vegetarian. I thought, I took vitamins. It's like, and it would be so easy to go to that place of, why me? And wait a minute. But
Right.
instead, what was interesting is, I think it taught everybody around me, wow, if this could happen to you, then what am I taking for granted? Like that, this is never going to happen to me. It's like, wait a minute, wake up call, wake up call. So I talk about things that wake us up, and I think hard things wake us up. And we don't want to wait for the hard things to be grateful, but we can cultivate that sense of gratitude in the middle of hard things going on in our lives. And so I've
Mm,
certainly been able to do it. And I think one of the things is, okay, this is hard. Something really challenging is going on. But ask yourself, what is working? So even when I had cancer, so much of my body was still working. It was amazing how much of my
mm,
body was still functioning exquisitely to keep me alive. Whoa, I had cancer all over the place. But I love John Kabat-Zinn says, if you're breathing, there's always more right with you than wrong with you. As
wow.
long as you're breathing, there's more right with you than wrong with you. And that will be true until you do not breathe anymore. Right? So I had
Yes.
stage 4 cancer. It was in a lot of places, but there was so much in my body that was still miraculous and that could blow my mind.
Mm,
So the question's like, what is working? How is life serving you? Like for me, there's always the question of, somebody's keeping the electricity on. People all over the world right now are doing things and making things. And the fact that you and I can be sitting in front of a computer screen with a video and a microphone and lights that are on, what is so extraordinary about that we take for granted? Like, life just keeps getting more mind-blowingly incredible about
yes.
the conveniences in some ways that we have and the things we have access to, that that weren't around 50 years ago, that we didn't have 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And so how is it that we're taking those things for granted? And can we
Mm.
appreciate those things as if they are the miracles that they are? And not everybody has those things. And so
Right.
it's a way to say, even in the middle of difficulty, what can you notice? Get outside, go outside and look at a flower and invite, right now things are so in bloom where I am, we've got just crazy weather and it's unbelievable. But like you can look at one flower and just sink into that and allow yourself to be absolutely awestruck, to marvel, to think this one thing, like what? I didn't have to do
Mm.
anything for this one flower. It just, especially perennials, you don't even have to plant them every year. They come back every year. It's like, I don't know. I just think there's so much, there's people everywhere. Go out and notice how much the universe is in service of your well-being, how much your body is in service, how much the natural world is in service of your well-being. Ask yourself what's in service of your well-being, even when life is incredibly difficult, or maybe especially when it is. And
Mm.
let yourself follow the trail of those things, of those invitations.
I love that. And it's just it is an exciting way to live. Like it really does wake you up to how miraculous every single day is. I think that's one of my favorite things about being a parent. We have a 3-year-old son right now who's about to be 4, and watching the way that he sees the world,
Mm.
like he's so right now he's mesmerized by grasshoppers. And to me,
Oh,
I'm like, I see them every day. They're kind of a nuisance. But he just loves them. He's like, I love this grasshopper so much. I want to keep him. I love him. Just it's so sweet. Cause to me, I'm like, I haven't thought about grasshoppers in 20 years,
yeah,
But it really is. It just brings you back to this sense of childlikeness
yeah,
to help
yeah,
you just recognize how amazing what we've got all around us is. Like I love the example you used of the flower. Like I didn't do anything for that, but it's there and it's beautiful and what a gift.
yeah. And it's like, it's just for your pleasure, like this
Mm.
beautiful, and then the smell. And kids, I love that I have nieces and nephews and so many kids in my life. They're the height of flowers, right? They're the height of the plants that are outside. And there's kind of, they seem more proximal, it's like they're kind of in proximity to so many things.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
see so many things, like, they can see the ground, they can see grasshoppers, and they pay attention and they let themselves be surprised and they see through the eyes of wonder and they don't take things for granted. They don't have this idea of life should be delivering more in so many ways. Well, sometimes they do if you go to the grocery store and they
Yeah,
want,
right.
right. But like, let's not get too crazy here. But I think we can learn a lot from children. We can also learn a lot from elders and people
Mm.
who have embraced the fact of their mortality and their impermanence. People who recognize that life is precious and they're nearing the end of that life, and
Yeah.
I worked for hospice for a period of time. I myself was so sick, I didn't know I was going to live. And I think there's real blessings to letting ourselves just sink into what is it like to really treasure. Think of those words. Those words are so beautiful. Treasure, savor, cherish, appreciate, embrace, honor. Can we lift ourselves up? Can we be more like children and more like these beautiful, wise elders in our lives and just not let things pass us by?
Mm.
Because everything is precious. And let's not wait for something hard, really hard to happen in order to be awake to what is worthy of our appreciation in life. That's my prayer. It's like, let's not wait for those moments. That's my hope for everybody listening to this is just go out
Yes.
now, open the door to your room differently, open the door to your house differently, go out differently, go out on super soaked, notice what's there, hug people longer, Say hello and goodbye like you really mean it. Don't take things for granted. Life is too precious.
Mm, man, that is so good. I feel like I could just sit here and continue to soak all of this in. It's just, man, I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your story and that you have shared with so many people to help them just gain something that is such a treasure, because it's very easy to go through life so busy and so focused on making money, being successful, ticking all the boxes, all of that, that we forget
Yes.
what really matters. And I feel the same way as you. I want to realize the moments that I'm living in before they pass me by, and just enjoy every single drop that I can out of this life while I've got it. And you have just been such an inspiration to me, and I know to so many others. So thank you so, so much. Before
Thank
we go, would you please tell everybody where they can connect with you and find
you.
resources and continue the conversation?
Thank you. Yes. So I wrote Wake Up Grateful. It's a beautiful book. It's out there. A lot of people listen to it on audio. People like my voice, which is nice, uh, and it puts people to sleep. Like what's really cute is that people listen to it before I go to bed, and I love
I
that.
love that.
Um, so the book is out there, and it's coming out in paperback. It'll be out in paperback this fall, which might be when the show is playing. I think.
Yes.
It's coming out in paperback. I'm also at Grateful Living, at Gratefulness. So www.grateful.org is the website. That's the organization I ran for these years. There's now a new wonderful CEO, great staff, incredible offerings on that website that you can sign up for free. You can get a word for the day, right? So every day, quotes and poems every month and beautiful, inspiring newsletters. And so that organization has great resources to offer. And I'm also going to be working hopefully on a new book. So by the time this airs, there will be something else in the pipeline, which I'm excited about offering in the world. So, I've really enjoyed this, Hannah. And the fact that you reached out to me, I just was overjoyed by your outreach and by your interest and your commitment. And I can't even tell you how much I'm wishing you well and holding you close in my heart. It's just a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Big love to you and all those out there listening.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to tune into another episode of the By Word Show. I love having you here, and I'm so thankful for your support. Don't forget to share a screenshot of this episode to let me know you were here. I can't wait to talk again soon, but in the meantime, be sure to come hang out with me on Instagram, and remember, I am cheering you on.